Sometimes there are things that you watch and you just say, "Wowzers, wowee." And that is what the new Halo Infinite campaign footage did to me today.
It's awesome.
If this is what was shown off a year ago, we would have nothing but hype. They have done a great job of at least presentation. From what was presented to us, it was one of those campaign trailers where they go through, if you haven't seen it yet, just go to YouTube, look at Halo Infinite campaign trailer, where they go through and they talk through like what is the Halo Infinite campaign going to be, show off some of the features. Mind-boggling.
Yeah.
Mind-boggling. Should we bring it up, actually?
Oh, yeah.
Also, if you think about it this way, if people hadn't complained last year, we wouldn't have had this year.
Perhaps. Yeah, perhaps.
Thank you.
I've seen a couple different news stories about that, what went wrong, and it sounds like they were making incorrect decisions all along. Like, and I don't know if this is a rumor, someone can correct me if it is, but I did see that they didn't originally have the Master Chief voice. They had a different actor, and then they switched over to.
Okay, let's.
What's his name? Downs. Downs.
Steve Downs.
Steve Downs. Yeah.
Let's be honest. That day is inevitable, right?
Yeah, of course.
So
it is.
I'm actually really curious how that day is gonna go.
What do you mean? What?
Well, Steve Downs, he's a cool guy, but he's getting older, right? He's not gonna be around forever.
Oh, I get what you're saying.
Halo, on the other hand, will probably be around for quite a while, so that day is gonna. You know what I would do? I would have him just read the dictionary, and then you have every word
that you can put together.
Yeah.
Then you have to have him read every word. Well, you have to
do
every
different
single word.
inflections.
Yeah, 5 inflections.
Yeah.
Happy, angry, forceful, passive.
Yeah. That's what I would do.
And then whisper.
And then put that thing on a flash drive and lock it away.
We got a new script for you. It's 5 million words.
Webster's.
Here you go. It's Webster's.
I'm sure there's AI.
You got to read it 5 times.
Well, I'm sure there's AI. Like you can read different sentences and then AI could replicate it somehow. Like the deep fakes. That's how they do the deep fakes.
Yeah, they have some tech coming out for audio that's pretty
good.
Pretty good, actually. It has its issues, but it does a really good job.
Well, the TV series isn't going to be his voice.
Oh, okay.
Which doesn't. It's so iconic. Can you do that?
I wouldn't want to be the first guy that does it. I'd be the second guy.
Yeah, second guy where you're like, okay, you're a little better.
He's better than the first guy.
You're a little better.
Even though the first guy's probably like really good, it's just because it's not him, so it's the initial.
It's more jarring.
Yeah. And then the
you're willing to
guy's
put up with it more the second time.
And then no one's ever going to remember his name. It's just like, well, at least it wasn't that first guy.
Yeah, that's funny. You don't want to follow up Heath Ledger, do you?
Well, no. It feels like with I'll just say it, with Joseph Staten, they're focused again. They're focused on a game. Last year, although I will say this, I stand by what I said. I didn't super care about the graphics last year. I did like that the gameplay last year from what we saw, because that seemed to be the consensus.
Well, the thing that we focused on was the Halo feel.
Yeah, it felt like Halo, and a lot of people kind of said that, like the Halo, it had like a feel of Halo to it, but the graphics just sucked, right? That being said, I am glad that they postponed a year and the graphics are much better. The world looks much better. It feels like last year maybe they were focused on other media, like the TV show or something like that. Maybe there wasn't as much focus on the game, or
maybe it just wasn't as far along in development as we thought.
Yeah.
But you know what I appreciate, speaking of the graphics, is how Microsoft has embraced the Craig meme.
Oh, Craig.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They notice the last shot, I believe, of this trailer is the updated Craig. And they even they have shirts in their office of Craig.
Oh, yeah. It's when the pods drop down and those guys come out. That's Craig 2.0 is what they call him.
So yeah, David, Craig, you probably already know, but for those that might not know, Craig is the plain-looking Groot or Brute.
That was at the end of the first
No. It wasn't at the end. He wasn't that guy. It was the drop pod.
Just one of the trailer guys, and you see him for like 1 second.
But it's
get
the
real close
zoom in one. Yeah.
And he's super plain, and he's like kind of smiling. And Microsoft made a shirt out of him, and they've embraced him, and they.
That's how you do it. You own it.
And what's interesting is if you listen to this trailer, Cortana, or the weapon, or anyway.
Cortana 2.0, whatever she is.
She's the same voice actress. Anyway, she's speaking in the background. She goes, and you will fight familiar enemies. And then Craig 2.0 drops
Craig
out.
2.0 drops out. They embrace,
and that's what
sucker.
the internet's calling him, Craig 2.0.
Craig
Nice look.
2.0.
Look at that armor that dude has.
Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, everybody go watch it. It's really exciting to see all the new stuff. I'm gonna pause it right there, and we can talk about what we're looking at.
The upgrade.
Yeah.
tree.
So something new is I'll pause it right there. What we're looking at for you guys listening is we're looking at a screen where they're showing the Mjolnir armor on Master Chief, which is 1,000 pounds, Jordan.
pretty
I see him jumping out of planes and landing, and I'm going, dang, that's a lot of impact.
So he's a strong dude.
He's a strong. That John is a strong dude. But we're looking at all the different kind of upgrades that you can see, and that you can upgrade as you go along. So your suit is now upgradable. It adds what we're looking at. The dash, you can upgrade the drop wall. You can upgrade your sensor. All this, and this is all in the campaign. This is not obviously multiplayer stuff, but it's really interesting that they're adding kind of the RPG elements, kind of modernizing a Halo experience.
Yeah,
I
what do
guess.
you think the gameplay loop is going to be? Spicy, you said you thought it had a little bit of a Destiny feel.
There was some Destiny vibes to it, like seeing the health on the mini bosses and stuff that we saw. I can probably find it on the screen so we can see what I'm talking about. But it's not this guy, but I did get some Halo vibe. I also, you know what I got? At first, I was
Destiny
thinking.
vibe? Sorry.
All right, yeah, Destiny vibe. At first, I was thinking it kind of has a Far Cry vibe, but then again, I was like, it's not necessarily Far Cry. It feels like on Combat Evolved, you know, the second level where you could,
Yeah, it feels like that level.
you could go to help the 3 separate Marines. You know, you could choose which Marines to go to. Which I actually really liked. I never up to that point. I never played a game that gave you that kind of
Gives you like
freedom,
the wide open feel.
freedom of exploration. And I feel like I'm getting kind of those vibes in some of these shots because why I say that is when we're watching this trailer. I'm going to go ahead and play the trailer again so everyone can watch it. While we're watching this trailer, it is an infinite map. It almost you have these bases that. I don't know if you're taking them over, but they have supplies that you can use to upgrade your armor, like we were talking about before. There's a lot of things. By the way, that was the boss that I was
Dude,
talking
it's so good.
about. Here's the map. Let me pause this map.
Oof, it's beautiful.
So you can see on the bottom left, Jordan pointed this out to me. You have area collectibles. So
And what are the numbers? We're seeing 0 out of 5, 0 out of 3, 0 out of 8, 0 out of 2.
Notice there's a skull there.
0 out of 12.
That gives me like the skull, collecting the skull vibes. You find the skulls on the ground.
They might be a little bit more difficult to find in this one.
Yeah. We saw in this trailer that you can order.
Would you mind pausing it again? Sorry.
Yeah.
What I like is you notice they've updated the map too. You can actually see terrain on it. In last year's map, it was just like a hollow map.
When it was that you can see the hollow over the top of it.
Yeah,
It was just that.
Yeah, so I wonder if it's like maybe as you explore on foot, the map reveals itself, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I like...
You can see elevation as well.
Yeah.
There are places of interest.
Even if you look at the top, you got upgrades, FOBs, which I think they talk about FOBs a little bit. Basically, they're fast travel points.
Yeah, and you can see that in the bottom right. It actually does say fast travel.
Oh.
It says fast travel and then it says offline. Now, does that mean fast travel offline or that you can play this in offline mode?
No, that means fast. You probably haven't discovered the fast travel point yet.
You need to
I
probably
would assume.
unlock something or something to fast travel.
Well, because fast travel is highlighted, but then offline is not. So that's what's confusing to me.
Maybe they maybe their internet went out. I don't know. Maybe you're right.
Yeah, maybe the Mjolnir suit doesn't have a signal.
Yeah, because if that's the case, and there's some sort of online loop, right?
Well, the
gameplay
online
loop
would
here.
be co-op, right?
Yeah, but what I'm
Which
saying
we know
is
is not
it would be co-op with other players somehow like visible on this map or in this world.
Yeah,
with you at
maybe
the same
there'll
time.
be a like a Diablo system, the Nemesis thing.
Yeah.
Or like
Oh.
if you get killed by a
Well,
brute, he appears.
they totally could do it because we haven't talked about it yet. They have that I pulled it up before. The dude that comes in his job is to kill Spartans. The
Yeah.
Spartan killer.
Yeah.
The Spartan killer could be the Nemesis system. if they wanted to put something like that in. I really like the Nemesis system in all the games that I've played. It was in Lord of the Rings,
Mordor.
the
Yeah, it
Mordor
was in
series,
Diablo.
Diablo.
The horn would come on.
Yeah. Whoa.
And you're like,
And then
uh-oh.
it's like this guy killed
In
this
this,
person.
it could be bum, 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 bum.
Yeah.
Bum.
Yeah. So I like what I see. It gets me really excited. The visuals here. I'm going to go ahead and press play again. The visuals are fantastic. They've done a lot of work, probably in a shorter amount of time than they wanted to, but it needed to be done because of last year's, whole fiasco thing.
Fiasco.
Well, so there's a few things that stick out to me. They're still not calling it open world. It's a wide open. It's the biggest Halo yet, right? But you notice they're I think they're trying to curb expectations. You know what I mean? Like
Okay.
I don't think it's going to be a Far Cry open world.
Okay.
I don't think it's going to be as big as that. I think it'll probably be open world, maybe in sections.
Okay.
Like I mean, the game will be open world. Well, not open world. It'll be an open level like we see, but I think it'll be in sections. You know what I mean? Like we go to this section, then we move to the next section, almost like a Guild Wars zone system. You get what I'm saying? Like you go to
Okay.
different sections.
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know. We'll see. But it's just they still haven't used the term open world. The one thing that I do worry about just a little bit is like for the upgrade system. It sounds like you got to get Spartan cores if you watch the trailer, and you got to go to these banished bases. Is it going to be like a Ubisoft Tower thing? You know what I mean?
Well,
Where
that's
you're
the-
ju-
I
you
mean,
know what I
that's
mean?
like the Far
and
Cry thing.
Yeah, what you kind of were mentioning earlier. Like, is it
Uh,
now?
It looks kind of like that.
Ubisoft has done a better job of getting rid of towers and replacing them with more. But is it going to be a repetitive thing? Is it going to, you know what I mean? I don't know. It's just a I don't necessarily want to call it a worry, but it's a thought. You know?
Mm-hmm. I mean, once you get your suit maxed out,
Yeah.
you don't need to do it anymore.
Well, and then I also see,
But
I wonder how much is going to be off the beaten path, and I wonder if that's why they're not calling it open world, because it's still a very linear story, so there's not going to be a ton off the beaten path.
Yeah.
Or, like, is there going to be, like, I find this cave and that leads to a side quest? Like, one thing Ubisoft did really well in Far Cry 6 was the treasures. Like, I found this treasure, and now all of a sudden I just spent 20-30 minutes exploring this treasure, going through this crazy level jumping puzzle and stuff. I wonder if they're gonna have stuff like that. If it, I'm curious how open to linear it's gonna be. You know. But I will tell you this: there is one thing that disappoints me about this trailer. When I see this trailer, I get more disappointed that there's no co-op at launch.
Yeah, that'll do
You know
it.
what I mean? Because how much fun would this be with us three jumping out of that ship? You know?
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Or imagine taking on one of those banished bases for a Spartan core, and you can do it from, like, someone can have Overwatch while you go in. It's going to be fun. We understand the explanation of why they aren't, co-op's not ready, because it sounds like, I think this is what we read in the leak. I don't know if it's true or not, but it sounds like they couldn't figure out how to balance co-op because of how open the world is. Do they do a tethering system, which is never fun? We've experienced that in Far Cry. So I'm not a super fan of a tethering system, which basically means you can only go so far away from the host before it brings you both back together. Or, I mean, what do you do? Do you not do a tethering system, and then the second player activates a cutscene or a sequence that you wanted to see? You know what I mean? So I get, and I don't think they've officially said that. I think that was just in the Reddit leaks that we read. But I get the complications of a co-op, but I still wish it was there,
Oh, I don't think I'd like a tethering system at all.
I don't like tethered systems.
Yeah.
And we know that
especially
from Far
not in
Cry
this
5,
game, yeah.
right?
Well, what do you do instead? Do you do like instances then? Like
Well, I
server
mean-
instance. They have the power of Microsoft servers
Do
behind
you
this.
do it like whoever the host of the game is the one that can interact with things? But then, does that make it fun for the player that's in the game with you? Like, oh, hey, I found this, and then he has to wait 5 minutes for you to run all the way to where he is. You know what I mean? Like, it's definitely a balancing act.
Well, could you just set up a small fast travel system?
Travel to friend.
Travel to friend? Yeah.
You could.
Or does that break it? No, it doesn't break the...
Yeah, so I don't know. Hopefully they hire smarter people than me to figure it out.
Oh, they have.
But also another thing that was interesting, I was watching, I think it was one of the Halo YouTubers, and he was talking about when they were showing the upgrade system, and I guess at one point crafting was an idea or was in the game, and I guess Joe Staten came in and said, no, we're taking that out. It doesn't feel like Halo. And I was just thinking, and that made me think, basically, like, sometimes more is not always better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, it's true.
No need to overcomplicate the game with the crafting system. Let's just make it, So
Yeah.
I find it makes me feel
How
like
good the Marine on the back looks, though.
yeah.
You are awesome, David. Nice.
It makes me feel that Joe Staten was the right guy for the job.
Yeah. Well, that's his concern, and you can see it in a lot of places. It doesn't feel like Halo. Let's take it out.
Yeah.
That's yeah.
So that he's totally catering to
Halo
for sure. Although we do see a lot of elements that are like the RPG system we talked about earlier, that are modernizing this game.
Yeah, it gives it a new feel while still playing like Halo. The one thing I do want to know, and I kind of hope they go this direction. We'll see. So the only time we've ever gotten additional DLC for story stuff on Halo is via a new game. All DLC has been multiplayer focused.
Well, we've gotten new maps, didn't we?
Yeah, multiplayer focused.
Oh,
right? All new DLC has been. Like,
I didn't hear that.
We've
I
never
totally ignored you.
Yeah, we've never gotten like story stuff. I feel like with how this world is set up, like open or not open world, but wider world. I don't, expansive world, whatever you want to call it. Do you think they're gonna do that? Like maybe next year, 2022, they'll have an expansion.
No, that's a good question. Actually,
Like,
Andrew Courtney wrote into our mail sack this week. He says, "How do you think they will handle adding in any extra content over time, or will we get any DLC added for campaign at all?"
See, there's a few things that bounce around in my head, and let me bounce them off of you guys.
All right, I'm here.
So Halo's on Game Pass now, right? So
yeah,
it's
on the multiplayer, free to play.
Yeah, if you're gonna get Halo, even if you're not only gonna play it for the month or for the campaign, it's literally cheaper for you to pay $15 for Game Pass than to buy a $60 game, right? Mm-hmm. So most people, not all people, but most people will do that.
Yeah.
So I don't think their focus is necessarily releasing a $60 game every couple of years. So I'm wondering, like, does that make it so next year in 2022 we get maybe like a little 4 or 5 hour story expansion?
Yeah, but do you have to pay for that add-on as a Game Pass subscriber, or is this a game that is completely free?
Oh, that is
all the way around, because the way that they're handling Forza Horizon 5 is that there's a premium add-on as a bundle targeted at Game Pass players. We learned that this week about Forza Horizon 5.
And that'll give you... Well, I mean, Forza does it in an interesting way, where they make you pay for the map. To like for all the
for the new like island or whatever that they put in.
Well, no, not that. Like the those signs,
like all the collectibles,
the collectible things on the ground.
Oh yeah,
they say
the $1 for the whole map.
Give us $2 and you don't even have to find them on your own.
Best 99 cents I've ever paid.
Amen.
I
think mine was $1.99.
I like how it's only like $1 too.
Saved
give us a
me
buck.
so much time, and I still had a good time.
Yeah. So here's what they're doing with Forza Horizon 5. And if this is a marquee game, you could imagine they might do something different with Halo, although I think we can't assume that the same things will happen, because I think Halo is the crown jewel that they might treat differently. But what they're doing is Xbox Game Pass members can pay $44 for access to something called the Forza Horizon 5 Premium Add-on Bundle, which is the premium edition of the game without the actual game included.
Access. I saw that.
Yeah, you get everything else.
Does it give you like it did say everything added on to the game, right? So all future expansions.
So the premium add-on bundle for Game Pass players gets you get to play 4 days early beginning November 5th. It also includes the welcome pass, the welcome pack, which is a bunch of cars and stuff, the car pass where you'll get every single car that comes out, VIP membership, and 2 game expansions when they become available. So Halo might do something similar, although if Halo is seen as the game, I mean, they went free to play on the multiplayer side because I think they're using it as the lure for Game Pass.
Well, and we do know they're going to charge, even though you're a game, I assume anyway, they're going to charge for the Battle Pass.
Yeah. I mean,
now, once you buy the Battle Pass, you keep the Battle Pass forever, which we also know.
Yeah. So, but what I'm saying is, do they keep Halo free going forward with DLC if it is the lure into Game Pass?
Well, see, that's what I wonder. But you bring up a good point because there's a lot of Game Pass games where we get the initial game for free, but then DLC is discounted.
Yeah, which I don't mind doing at all. It's a great model.
So I think that multiplayer, if they do it right, is going to fund everything for the future.
For Halo.
So
you think it remains free on Game Pass?
I think so. I think because they're releasing the multiplayer side of things for free. If it is done right, and we've talked about this in the past, if they have a modern version, it doesn't have to be Battle Royale. It has to be something like a Battle Royale that will hook people to continuously play it, that has, I don't know how to describe it, a story per every match you play. Meaning a team deathmatch is not a story. It's just you go kill people.
Yeah.
And that is not that is a traditional way to play a multiplayer game. But in the last, let's say, 4 or 5 years, the power of having a narrative in a 20-minute match has changed how multiplayer has worked, how it's played. It makes it extraordinarily exciting to play. And what I mean by that is battle royales, by their very nature, include a narrative that tells a story. I mean, you play Vigor, David. It's so much easier to release a video playing Vigor that, I'm going for this because of this, and I didn't get these weapons. It actually
it creates a natural narrative arc.
A natural narrative that makes it interesting to watch and interesting to play.
Yeah.
They don't necessarily need the traditional battle royale, and I'm not saying that they have to have that. Halo can do some pretty great things with a way to make a narrative in their gameplay, in their multiplayer. So,
well, just look at the single player map with the verticality. Imagine that in a battle royale.
Well, and adding the warthogs, that could be your vehicles. It's a super cool way. It could be even if they wanted to do a traditional battle royale, it could be hands down easily the best battle royale ever made, and probably ever will be, just because of the very nature of what Halo is and represents, and the story and everything, the weapons, everything about it. No one could do better. And I think that is how you hook people to play the game and get their battle passes. I don't know how they're going to do it, but that could fund everything for years to come.
No, I agree. Actually, Dr. Disrespect made a comment this week. I don't know if you guys heard it, but it kind of picked up a little bit of traction. You got to listen to what he says. He did not say so he doesn't say the game will fail. He says after I believe it was 2 weeks. He says after 2 weeks, from a spectating standpoint, this game is without a battle royale. This game is going to be non-existent, essentially. Sure. A lot of people picked it up as he's saying Halo's going to fail. He never said Halo was going to fail. He's basically saying from a spectating standpoint, after 2 weeks, unless there's a battle royale, no one's going to be watching. And I don't know if I agree or disagree with him, but I get his point, and it goes to your point about battle royale does bring in a bigger crowd, especially when you're thinking like Twitch, YouTube streaming, and stuff like that, than traditional multiplayer.
Yeah, not only that, it's more than just. I mean, the crowd equals sales.
Yeah.
It really does. If you don't think this game or other games need a battle royale, to stay relevant longer than 3 months, for example, then I think even he said this, you haven't been paying attention to streaming and how video games work for the last 5 years. You don't see any other games or any first-person shooter games on top with those streaming, platforms that don't have a version like a battle royale. Like Tarkov is a unique. Jordan says it's a battle royale. I agree with him. It's a unique take on battle royale. Yeah. Battlefield is doing their own version of a battle royale style. Without that, the game will lose momentum, and the narrative that comes with a game type like that is what will make a game like this last for years and years and years.
Well, and see, Battlefields will be really interesting because we still don't really have a lot of information, and I'm not sure what the hook is going to be in that game mode, So
they do have, from what I understand, somewhat of a currency, and that currency lets you bring in kind of a loadout.
Yeah, but like, do you keep like? I assume when you die, you lose that loadout. Like, is that currency gonna be enough to keep you hooked?
Well, that's
know?
and that's why Tarkov is such a unique.
Well, yeah, because you have
shooter.
a hideout, you have so many things that you want to get,
And things are so risky to bring in.
Well, but it doesn't need to come from the multiplayer side necessarily. Either we don't know the gameplay loop for the campaign. The campaign could be, like you said, a Destiny or a Diablo-esque or whatever style that is perpetual, that keeps people going in the vein of an MMO. That also keeps people watching.
Sure, but in an MMO, you have co-op.
Yeah,
and we don't have that. You know?
But until
will-
2 months afterwards.
But you will.
Yeah.
And it looks like basically, I mean, and this is something Halo Infinite that we've never seen before. So they that the campaign side of things, the new open world side of things, could also be a means to drive interest in your game.
I believe like what would you call it? Even if you take Destiny, I believe the turnover on a campaign is not as high as a multiplayer. For example, everybody played through the first Destiny 2 campaign.
Yeah, I did.
How many people dropped off between that and the first expansion?
Me.
And then how many people dropped off between that and the first expansion? You know what I mean?
So what is outside of? So we're just using streaming as the example because it's the most.
Well, because
it's the most
high
obvious.
streaming equals high sales.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So what is the most campaign or not let me put it this way, non-battle royale game? What is the what's the top one? Sea of Thieves?
Well, Sea of Thieves isn't a
Type of
campaign.
deal.
That's just a
Multiplayer.
sandbox.
Like, are you talking like story?
But that's what I'm saying. If this has a sandbox feel, I'm talking like the campaign, quote unquote, could fulfill that role.
Sure, and the thing is, though, I mean, if you have a campaign that hooks you, it won't hook you past 3 months. People will get bored of the campaign.
Yeah, waiting for the new expansion.
Waiting
right?
for the new expansion.
Or
Streamers
whatever,
won't stream it because...
But if there's like a rating type of system built into it or anything like that, I mean, that's what keeps MMOs alive.
But, well, MMOs aren't stream. They don't get streamed very often. You have power players, and I think MMOs get more powerful the more drama is introduced to companies. But MMOs aren't very popular in streaming. I mean, look at what's Asmongold?
Yeah, actually, if you think about it, if Asmongold's not streaming WoW, it's not at top of the list. And it may not be like last, but
I'll argue that he's more of an IRL streamer.
He's a just chatting.
And that's why people watch him, because he's funny.
It's almost like a talk show.
Yeah, he's just a talk show, and so they're not necessarily. I don't think a lot of people are there to watch the game. They're there to watch him.
What in the hot mess?
Are you trying? Oh yeah, welcome to Twitch.
I'm trying to look at. I just want that. I want to see all games. What's the top one? And it's mixing in recommended with.
Yeah.
What in the sweet?
Yeah. That's there you go. That's
but,
that.
But no, I think you can hook people with a campaign, but I think the problem. I think like Mark said, after 3 months, that campaign drops off. Right.
Correct.
And then you may wait another year for an expansion. Now you might get initial hype with that expansion, but I think the drop off between the campaign to the first expansion, you're going to lose players because I think that's just the nature of a campaign. You know, because you're going to get your hardcore players who are always going to buy the Halo whatever. Yeah. You know, and they're always going to do your campaign. But I think multiplayer is what holds people, and I think the battle royale genre is the most exciting to watch because Mark said it earlier. It's a new story every time. You know, it's got a little bit of everything. It's a story because you're dropping in with nothing. It's competitive. It's high end gameplay if you're depending on who you're watching. But I don't know.
I just think it would be a mistake. I've said this a lot. It would be a mistake if they didn't introduce some sort of modern take on multiplayer
and not Warzone. Okay, I'm not talking about Call of Duty Warzone. I'm talking about Halo 5 Warzone. Not that. Yeah. Don't introduce that. I was really excited for Warzone when they were talking about it, and then
you played it.
Well, yeah, and it's not bad. It just doesn't hold you.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. It doesn't.
I'll say, Jordan, it doesn't have a carrot on a stick that
Well, so the appeal
that a battle pass comes with with a battle royale.
Yeah, the appeal of Warzone was PvEVP, so player versus environment versus player. You know, you're taking down bosses while having to worry about this other team. The thing is if I want to do that, I'm gonna go play Hunt Showdown because I think they do it better, and it's more of a battle royale.
Yeah.
So it has. See what I mean? See what we're getting at?
Showdown's
Like,
a good example of a battle royale that's not a battle royale.
yeah,
You know,
its core mechanic, I guess, is a battle royale where you go in
it's forcing players together.
and get out and extract with stuff, and then of course if you die, you lose that hunter's loadout. But I don't know. I think that type of gameplay. I get what Dr. Disrespect was saying, right? And again, if you listen to what he says, he's not saying the game will fail. He's saying from a spectating standpoint, if they don't have
Which
a
is
battle
the
royale,
business he's in.
yeah.
Well,
So
and I mean that equals dollar signs for games,
Even-
and developers,
even-
everything.
Let's not just take Dr. Disrespect. When Tim the Tatman was playing the beta with everybody, I think they talked about it. He says, I can see myself playing this pretty hardcore for about a month or two. And then he says, then I'm going back to Warzone. And then that's when they all started talking about this game needs a battle royale. It needs something to keep them coming back.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And a lot of people probably
If-
are hearing this and say, no, Halo doesn't need a battle royale. It's not bad to add one.
Yeah, and
know?
see, that's the thing. They won't. Halo, for those that do not necessarily want to play a battle royale, that's fine. There's always going to be in Halo a team deathmatch. It's not
So,
like
yeah.
you're removing what Halo is and represents. And I think it could totally be done. Halo, I've said this a million times. It is the perfect game to be a battle royale.
Yeah.
The core of the game is if you understand how Halo is, it could totally be so good.
It really could.
And if you disagree, I don't understand how to be real.
The only
because look at the data.
Yeah, well, the only argument that I think is there to be had is the more game modes you have, the more you split up your player base, which, yes, I do agree with that, but with the addition of crossplay, so now you have PC players and Xbox players playing together, I think that lessens that a little bit because you have a bigger pool to draw from.
Yeah.
And the thing is look at Call of Duty. There's still... The Warzone is probably one of the, if not the one of the most popular battle royales, and I'm still finding team deathmatch matches. You know what I mean? It's just,
Well, think of stuff like this. Imagine getting some of the Spartan 2s in the battle pass for finishing, from
Yeah.
the storyline and everything. How awesome would it be to get George?
yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
Or
George Armor,
George
You know,
Armor
yeah.
for getting that tier 50 or tier 100. And then you can play that in the game. And then Halo is so great because you can pick up the miniguns and then you can see your armor. There's so many things that make you want to do a lot of things. I don't know. I just think that this game is perfect for it. So
I do too.
I don't know. Do we overstate though? I mean, it's clear that streaming is a form of marketing for your game and drive sales
for the good or for the bad, yeah.
Yeah, but but sometimes do we overstate the power that it has? Because for instance, it's a chicken or egg, right? Are people watching some are that haven't played this game, or are people watching who they're primary consumers of the game? They're already playing the game and they're watching it being played at a high level or at an entertaining level.
I mean, it's free marketing.
Well, I actually think streaming is underrated in.
Well, I'll give
marketing,
you an
know?
example. The top grossing game of this month was Genshin Impact, and it has 10,000 viewers currently.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Genshin Impact is literally a game where you spend it's friendly pay to win.
Also, Lyric plays that game. Actually, a lot of people play that game. A lot of streamers play that game.
It's legitimately friendly pay to win, and you have the entire population of Asia behind you playing that game.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is 10,000 viewers versus 300,000 viewers for the top streamed game.
Well,
at
see,
the moment.
you're watching that on a Friday night. The streamers that bump that game up, like Lyric, one of the powerhouses of Twitch, he plays that. A lot of people play that game. So you're at the bottom.
But now
of the
But
the valley.
But if the argument is that Lyric plays that game, so he drives a lot of streamers, that's not a battle royale. That's my point. I think that I think that Dr. Disrespect is right, but I worry that that's we're overstating the case a little bit.
I don't think so. I think I'm with Jordan. It's understated. I think influencers, for good or evil, are
Well,
a big, crucial piece of success in gaming
I
nowadays.
think someone like, let's take Asmongold, for example, another big, or Summit 1G. Let's take Summit 1G. He's really big too.
Sure.
I think Summit 1G, and we can use Sea of Thieves as an example. I think Summit 1G streaming your game for 8 hours one day and enjoying it is more effective than, a Super Bowl ad.
Than $10 million in marketing.
You know what I mean? And I think that's where streamers are underrated, or streaming a game is underrated, like in marketing. I think streaming is more effective marketing for a game than your typical ad. One, because how many people actually watch commercials nowadays?
Yeah, but ads are done differently now. So like I'll give you an example. So Vigor, which is a free to play game that is solely making money off of how many users are in it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like a top tier AAA game or anything like that. It's not competing with those. So I have videos that go up or down based on their advertising. And what they'll do is they'll advertise Jack Frags. Jack Frags reviews the game. It says in the bottom of his YouTube,
Sponsored, yeah. Same with Westy. Westy's a friend of Jack Frags.
But again, same thing. And when they do that, there is a massive bump in all of my content. And that is evergreen content, an evergreen review that sits there that most people aren't paying attention to, and most people don't care that the review from Jack Frags is paid for, essentially.
Yeah.
It's a marketing ploy. And so I think that I guess what I'm trying to say is streaming is important, but I think streaming is just one avenue. Like if Halo's not streamed highly, that doesn't mean that it's not going to be hugely successful.
I think Jack Frags falls under the category of streaming. No, he wasn't streaming the game, but he's a content creator that put that advertisement on his
that
YouTube.
You can pay for.
So imagine, David, if Summit 1G, because I think he's a fantastic streamer.
Sure.
Let's use him.
Sure.
Imagine, we'll call this like the SEO that you don't pay for. They didn't. Maybe they sponsored him at first, but he kept playing the game.
Yeah, sure.
And I think he single-handedly kept that game alive for years.
Sorry, what game?
Sea of Thieves. I think Sea of Thieves is as popular as it is today because of Summit 1G.
100%. It was not what it was before him, and he changed that game's future single-handedly.
No, I agree with that.
And it wasn't a sponsorship.
I agree with that, but it's also not a battle royale. Like that's just my point. I'm not sure that it needs to be a battle royale in order to get that kind of publicity.
I mean, it kind of is.
Well, it's a sandbox.
Well, but it's forcing people onto the same islands to get treasure.
Well, maybe battle royales, high risk, high reward.
Yeah, the narrative, games with narrative.
Yeah, I agree with that.
That's what we're when we say battle royale, that's like the most common version of what we're talking about.
Yeah, but
it creates story because players are being forced together in one location, and then they have to extract. And in that case, they're taking it back to a base to dump the gold, where Summit would hide on a ship and steal it,
and draw inappropriate stuff on people's maps.
Yeah. So it's this. That's what I mean. It doesn't have to be a battle royale, but it has to be a modern. Well, no,
it's got to be captivating.
It has to have a narrative.
What do you think Halo will come out with some type of what do you think Halo's hook is to keep people watching and playing?
I think what will happen, I'll be honest, I think what will happen in Halo, and maybe it does come out with a battle royale, but I think what's more likely to happen is how we got battle royale in the first place. I think their Forge system will create game modes that we can't even conceive of right now. Yeah. And will catch fire, go viral, and everybody will be playing it.
Halo RP.
I'll give you a prime example. I'll tell you
called
who,
Red versus Blue.
Well, I'll tell you who I think is in trouble. I think Splitgate. I think Splitgate is a fantastic idea, but guess what's going to be able to replicate that immediately is anyone who wants to do it on Forge. In fact, that's how Splitgate was first created. And so imagine that. I think you're just opening it up, and I think that's more like
community-driven content.
And let's say you have a variety of it. So let's say I get bored. I'm a big streamer. I get bored of streaming this, but okay, let's see. Oh, I've heard of this hot new mode. Let's try it out. Oh my goodness, it's so much fun. Let's go through and continue to play this. On top of that, I also think there is going to be some kind of, it's Halo Infinite, and Spicy mentioned Destiny feels. There's also going to be a campaign gameplay loop that I don't think dies, and maybe it's not as big as a battle royale being streamed. But picture if, let's say, Halo multiplayer is number 3, and Halo campaign is number 6 or 7 or 10. Like, that's still you got these 2 funnels feeding into your game, completely different ways of playing. I'm very curious on the campaign game.
But imagine if Halo Battle Royale was number 1.
Well, a battle royale will probably be created in 4. I mean, we saw the tools for Forge. You can do whatever you want. It's the same as Skyrim, or even the only reason Grand Theft Auto is online is as popular as it is because
of
people
that mod.
were able to go in and mod it.
No pixel. Right?
Why not a Halo Infinite RP?
That's what it was. Halo RP.
Halo RP.
You can be Craig.
You can be Craig.
Well, anyway, back to the original question.
Well, I do want to shout out JW. He dropped a super chat a while ago. JW, thank you very much. It's his first time watching live.
That's
so
awesome.
Shout out to
Welcome.
JW.
Yes.
Thank you. Everybody that's listening, you can come watch us live every Friday on YouTube, youtube.com/XoneBros. Come join us if you haven't yet. It's a good time.
Yeah. But so back to the original question, which I actually don't think we ever answered. Do you think...
DLC, I think, was our question.
Yeah, do you think this will be... Because, like I said, we've never gotten story DLC in a Halo game. It's just been a new Halo game. I don't think that's necessarily their plan. I think they want to continuously expand Halo Infinite. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe 3, 4, 5 years from now, we'll have Halo 7 or
no,
whatever. I think this is what they want to do,
yeah.
and I think that was part of the reason of them creating their own engine to set them up for this, to make things easy to put in and out.
They learned from Destiny.
Do you think... Do you think we'll get story DLC? I hope so.
Yeah,
With how this world is set up, I would love to log in one day.
We'll get add-on and DLCs. My question, I don't think that's a question.
Full story expansions.
The question that I have is, how will they handle that? Because if they go by how they handle Game Pass, you'll have to pay for that. But I think, I'm with Mark. I think that they'll have, even if, let's say, multiplayer doesn't drive revenue, I think they see Halo as the driver for Game Pass. Like, this is the crown jewel of Game Pass. Everything about it's free, just as long as you're part of Game Pass.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I agree with myself then.
Well, yeah.
Amen.
Well, so here's another question. Here's another question though. Well, multiplayer is free to play anyway, so I guess it doesn't matter. You don't need Game Pass for multiplayer. So
you answered your own question without even asking.
Well, what's interesting though is having said that, let's say they do come out with a battle royale, but I think that there's going to be a multi-prong approach because they have multiple ways of doing it.
No, yeah, and whether you like it or whether people like Call of Duty or not, I think Call of Duty actually does a good job with their stuff. I mean, I would still like them to maybe take a year off and really focus on a game than the every year thing. But they have all those modes within one system
launcher.
One launcher. One launcher, and you have your Warzone crowd, and then you have your regular multiplayer stuff.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
So I don't know. It's got.
Guys, go watch the campaign trailer if you haven't seen it yet.
It's awesome. It
looks
gets you
really
excited.
good. It's getting late, and we have a lot to talk.
We talked about 40 minutes on Halo.
Dude, it's well deserved. That's how big the campaign trailer.
We're
is.
excited.
Very excited.
I mean, there was a Battlefield trailer that came out this week that let's kind of skip that. It looks really good. Go look that up. It looks really good.
Let's skip it. It looks great.
But
Well,
what I want to get into is Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Well, we can do like a 1 minute after Guardians of the Galaxy because Jordan brought up some good points about.
Okay, give me some Battlefield in overview. Battlefield.
What
This
were
is
my
multiplayer. This is multiplayer trailer that dropped, and after we all watched it on the pre-show. And afterwards, it was dead silent in here because it was jaw-dropping.
It's a fantastic trailer. David said, "Have you ever seen a trailer better than this one ever in the history of your lives?"
For first-person shooter multiplayer, I can't think of one.
It looks really good. A lot of the things Jordan was pointing out that I didn't notice, but he noticed because Jordan is Jordan. They're showcasing within this trailer itself all the fixes they've made from the beta. Like, for example, having the XP show up in the middle. I actually like how they're putting it like inside your reticle as well.
The compass, if you notice, is always on screen, whereas in the beta it was only on screen when you aim down sight, which was
nice.
Not nice. I mean, I like it better now.
Yeah,
always being there.
A thing to note for me is the sound is amazing.
Yeah, that's the first thing that I noticed. The guns were like, woo.
As you would expect from Battlefield, the sounds are amazing. It is They showcase a lot of cool sandboxy battles. I strongly suggest checking it out. It's called the Battlefield 2042 gameplay first look at renewal breakaway and discarded map. So it's a map trailer.
Jaw dropping. That's all I have to say.
It's a great trailer.
Jaw dropping. Let's talk about Guardians of the Galaxy. You both played it. Now, I've been watching reviews on it because I'm like, what is this game?
What
do I
is
want to
this?
get this? Superhero games do not have the greatest track record, although lately Spider-Man is probably the best superhero game, at least critically acclaimed and whatnot. General perception. And this one, a lot of players are liking. You guys both had a chance to jump into it. Let's start with Jordan. Jordan, Guardians of the Galaxy, is it worth picking up? Do you like it? Do you not like it? Where are you at on this?
I believe Guardians of the Galaxy has taken the place of one other game that was in my top 3 for Game of the Year.
Oh,
Yeah,
dirty.
It's really good. And I think a lot of it has to do for me is it came at a perfect time because I wasn't interested in it, and I was like, we'll stream it tonight and see how it goes. And I don't know why I wasn't interested in it because we've seen the trailers and it's like, okay, Guardians is coming. Maybe it was because Avengers, the last Marvel game we got, Avengers it wasn't a bad game, but it wasn't like anything
wasn't great.
I kind of got addicted to it, and then it like lost its flair really quick once I beat the game, and I didn't want to go through the loop of all that end game stuff. Anyway, Guardians of the Galaxy, I would basically say it's Uncharted with Guardians skin on it, and so it's an adventure game, and it's a linear adventure game, and that's the other reason I probably am liking it so much.
It has this
because
refreshing feel to it.
Yeah, it's nice to like play a linear game when I've been playing a lot of open world stuff lately. Yeah. So I like open world games, but I feel like linear games are less stressful. Because you're not I don't have to
linear games allow you to solely focus on the story. I feel like in linear games, so open world games can immerse you in one direction, and a large part of that immersion is this world. But I think linear games can immerse you in a story when done right, like unlike any other style of game.
Yeah. Two really quick things that I noticed, and credit to, I think it's Eidos Montreal that did it. Developed this game. The writing is fantastic. Nothing like comedy is really hard to get, especially in a video game, and it doesn't feel. And the Guardians of the Galaxy are more of a what would you say, not lighthearted, but they're more of a comedic. They're funny, because they're
there's
kind of
a
scrappers.
lot of personality in
yeah.
all the characters, and with such you can really do some great things with comedy.
The writing doesn't there's points where Star-Lord he tries to say something. He tries to say something smooth, and he does, and it doesn't feel forced.
Yeah,
it's good writing, and the animations of their face and when they talk and stuff is really good. Like there's a scene where you're with this girl in an elevator with her mom, and her mom is scolding her, and you could see the expressions on her face, like she rolls her eyes, and the animations and the writing and even the voice acting, we'll throw that in there, I think is top notch. Like some of the best I've ever seen.
Yeah. Well, so that's good. Spicy, talk to us about gameplay. How is gameplay in this?
This game is fantastic. If you want to talk about gameplay,
game mechanic. Yeah. How does do you feel like a superhero? Do you feel like a Guardian of the Galaxy?
Yeah. So it's really hard for a game to like Jordan said, do comedy, but also do interactions with characters in the middle of fight scenes and combat. And this game does it better than I've ever seen. How many times, for example, have you been in a game, Jordan, you would appreciate this, when they start talking in the middle of a fight scene, Halo 5, and they're doing story elements over the fighting, and you're trying to fight, but you're also trying to figure out what's he saying, what's going on, and then we have to have a discussion after, so what just happened, and figure out what just happened. It's very, very, very difficult to do that over action, and I always thought that you couldn't do it.
And they did it.
This game is awesome. First of all, I'm gonna sit back with the microphone a little bit.
Yeah,
get in your David position.
I love music. I absolutely love music. Guardians of the Galaxy is one of my favorite MCU movies because the music just fuels my soul.
It bangs. It
How
bangs
they,
hard.
How they use it in those movies is it just touches me in all the right places.
It bangs.
It bangs.
It bangs. She bangs.
It bangs
It
hard.
bangs. Yeah. It's absolutely fantastic. The music in this game is amazing.
How much do you think they had to pay for licensing?
I have no idea. It's not the same as the movie soundtrack, by the way, but we have a lot of bangers. A lot. They are awesome songs. I spent, we're watching gameplay of me, just no commentary. We put these on our YouTube channel a lot of the time. And you'll see me take like 10 minutes scrolling through the music and just... You can't see me because it's a no commentary video, but I'm just like, oh my gosh. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, man, this is amazing. Which probably is why we got all those copyright flags on that video. But having the music, I wanted to point that out because one of the coolest features in the game, Jordan and I were talking about this before, is the huddle system. Yeah. And it's one of the greatest things I've ever...
It's actually... probably one of the best features you can put in a team game.
In a team game.
Yeah.
They have a huddle system, and basically when everything's going on and the dialogue makes you laugh because Rocket's saying snarky comments while we're fighting, Gamora saying her, snob comments, and then you have the destroyer Drax.
Yeah.
My brain sucks.
Drax the Destroyer.
Drax the Destroyer. You have him saying his non-sarcastic remarks in the middle of combat, and you're laughing your head off. And then they go down, and then it's like your ultimate. You press left bumper and right bumper.
Yeah, it's basically when things go wrong and your
the
team starts to die.
The screen stops, and you see his Walkman go up. Like, it does this whole screen. And then the music starts. You got, like, Motley Crue or something popping up. And then they all come up to you, and they're like, yeah, okay, what's the plan?
And what it does is it goes into first person. You're like the quarterback. It goes into first person on you, and you're looking up at your team, and they're like, what's the plan? Yeah, and then you have
Then you have your choices, and you can say different things. The choices in this game are amazing because... it has the impression like really great games like a Mass Effect, although this is definitely not as serious as a Mass Effect, or a Witcher, where your choices feel like they carry weight and it changes things. Jordan was even when go for it.
I was gonna say I don't know how much they matter yet because you can't. I mean, we'll have to tell on a second playthrough or if we make different choices from different people. But it seems as of right now, maybe it's one of those things where there's different choices, but it ends up being the same thing. And if that's so, that's kind of a bummer. But it seems as we're making these choices, we're affecting little things that are happening.
Choices, and that's what makes a great game. I think is the appearance of choices that matter. And so when you throw up your Walkman and you say, "Come on over, guys, let's huddle up," and then like Bonnie or Blondie starts playing "I Need a Hero," and he's like, "Okay, this is what you're gonna do." You choose what play you're gonna do. Like, do I want to be this way? Do I want to be this way? This will make them do more power damage or stuff like that, and it affects how good they play later, and if they get bonuses and stuff like that. It's a really cool. It's
a really cool system.
There's a lot of little systems in this game that make me smile. Like there's, for example, they have like a Star Fox mini game that pops up in the middle of all this stuff.
Yeah.
All this that I'm talking about, by the way, is within the first 30 minutes to an hour. So hopefully I don't think I'm spoiling anything. I'm just teasing, wetting your palate. But there's you're in the Milano and it turns into Star Fox.
While playing rock music.
And it is amazing. And the whole time, Rocket's yelling at you well, you want me to take over? Or, you're going to kill us, And it's the dynamic of these characters are so funny and so good. I was not expecting this game to
be that good.
To be at this
grab
level
me.
of polish and it's a top tier game. Going more into the combat system. The combat alone, we'll see how repetitive it gets later, right? Because I'm 3 hours in maybe, and it's already left that good of an impression. But the combat, because you play as of right now, play as Peter Quill, Star-Lord, and you control your other teammates. So, for example, Drax can basically stamina break enemies. So if you need to stamina break enemies, you need to tell Drax to do a certain ability to do that, and then you can do the damage to him. Gamora does like high damage.
Single target damage.
High single target damage. So if you want like burst damage, you tell Gamora on the enemy to do a certain attack, and she does high damage. Rocket he's kind of like an AoE damage, so he'll throw scatter bombs. Groot is a support, so he'll stun enemies for you. And using so there's one battle that's probably an hour in. It's kind of the first boss battle, I guess. And you use all of their abilities, and using all of it's right after the huddle.
The first time you're introduced to the huddle.
And using all of their abilities in one single battle is really quite impressive and really fun.
That's
and
cool.
We'll see how, as the game goes on, we'll see how repetitive the combat gets or what they do to keep it fresh. But controlling your team is really good. Yeah, because everybody has, like when I use Rocket and his abilities, I'm using it for a reason.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Everything has a reason behind it.
And Groot makes bridges. There's a whole bunch of stuff in the non-combat phase of this game. It gives me, what was that superhero game? Top down like a Diablo. What was that game?
Ultimate Alliance.
Ultimate Alliance. Yeah. I kind of get some of Ultimate Alliance vibes because of the combos that these characters work with each other, stuff like that. Anyways, David,
this is a game to buy.
Yeah,
it's unfortunate that it's not on Game Pass.
It sucks. But
this is one worth buying.
I would buy this 100%.
Big. That's a big recommendation. There you go, everybody.
Do you like his swagger walk, by the way? Yeah. Have you ever like?
Well, I actually tried looking for that. If we're watching gameplay right now, I actually tried looking for Star-Lord's jacket from this game because it's actually a really cool jacket.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet. Once I figured out like how cool his walk is, I didn't run anywhere anymore because he's got this swagger walk that's just like, because he's like, I'm a badass. That's just how this Star-Lord's character is.
That is awesome. Yeah, I've heard good things. It's good to.
I had no idea it was going to be this good.
Yeah,
David.
It's good to hear that you guys have such high recommendations.
But I'm probably super biased because
let's take one question before we get out of here. Let's go with Michael Whitman. Michael Whitman wrote in this week in our mail sack, and he said, "Happy Friday, bros." He said, if you could only pick one person from in or out the industry, who would you pick to have a sit-down, 30-minute, one-on-one conversation with, and why? He says, I've been listening to the show for a few years now, and I'm laughing at every episode. Keep up the good work. Thank you very much, Michael Whitman. Jordan, let's start with you. One person in or out of the industry to have a 30-minute one-on-one conversation with.
Right now, I would probably do Phil Spencer because I would ask him, like, hey, what was Halo really like before you delayed it? Because from what we understand, he's the one that stepped in and was like, all right, I'm going to delay this, right? And there's just a bunch of other stuff like, hey, who thought of, was Game Pass your idea? Or who, basically from where Xbox was to where it is now, I would like to know a lot of the in-betweens of behind the scenes, like, hey, why did you guys think Game Pass was the way to go? Stuff like that.
Spicy, anyone come to your mind that you'd have a sit down with?
So I'd also ask him who he's buying next.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one.
I don't know. I kind of want to just go on a motorcycle ride with Todd Howard.
Okay, I can see that. If
just go like down Sardine Canyon, just like
that could be part of your 30-minute conversation.
Just smelling those smells, the grass in the air. Just, enjoying being a rock star with Todd Howard. That's what I want to know.
I want to know, like, the founders of Blizzard.
Like Mike Morhaime, and I think there's one other dude.
Yeah, and I want to know, like, what...
Are you glad you got out?
No. I want to know, like, how... Couple questions. How to sustain just quality at a high level for so long, and then at what point did that start to fall off, and how do you prevent that in an organization? Or that is the, because or same thing. I would also ask someone from Rockstar, like the same question: who's been over all the Grand Theft Auto games or the
I think their answer is simple: you get fired.
You fire people.
No, but that's what I want to know. Like, how do you create this culture of just consistent greatness for such a long time, for decades, and then what creeps in that destroys that?
Yeah, Rockstar would be a good one to ask, because even if you take a Rockstar game let's take LA Noire, not the most popular Rockstar game, But even though it's not the most popular Rockstar game, it's still a solid game.
Dude, it's
You know what I mean? It's still a good game at its core.
yeah.
It's another one of those Rockstar games that push technology forward.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that actually feels like what that game is about. Like, let's experiment with this technology. It feels like an experiment game. But yeah, that would be my question. Michael Whitman, that's an excellent question. Thank you very much for writing in. Everybody, that does us for this week. Halo, Galaxy, Guardians of the Galaxy.
Great game.
And hey, even if you've never seen the Guardians of the Galaxy movie, you don't need to see that to understand what's going on in the game.
It's totally a standalone. The characters are even.
It's actually probably a great way to introduce you to Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
Then.
Well, it's almost like I was telling Mark. It's almost like and I think I was telling you too, David. It's almost like they took the character personas from the movie,
Yeah.
but are doing their own story that maybe leans more towards the comic book.
Super
You know?
cool.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, everybody, for tuning in this week. If you haven't yet, head over to iTunes, Spotify, wherever you listen to us. Rate, review, and subscribe to us. It really helps the show. Come follow us on YouTube. We actually dropped our first impressions video. It's in-depth first impressions this week. It'll be a regular series. Jordan the Man goes through the first few hours of a game and gives his first impressions. Come check it out. You'll like it. Have a great week. We'll see you guys later.